Y108 rocks with the Arkells. Never thought that this would happen. The new album High Noon drops on August the 5th. I'm joined in the studio by Anthony, Max, and Mike from the Arkells. You're taking over the station for the hour.
Yeah, that's right. We heard they paid well, so we were like, all right, we need a part-time job.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for coming by the studio today, guys, and hanging out with us here at the station.
This is the closest interview. It was so easy we could have walked here.
Well, you said that it just sounds good when you hear your music coming through on the radio in the speakers. Just something about hearing it on the radio that just gets you guys.
Yeah, it's like the radio compression or whatever you get, the magic you guys. I don't know what these machines do here, but whatever you guys are doing, it sounds great.
It all sounds good. So this new record, High Noon, is almost ready to be unleashed upon the world. I have a copy in my hands. It smells like a new album. Are you guys excited to finally unleash this upon your fans?
Yeah, we're really excited. We've been, harassing our friends with it for like the last 6 months. So now we get to harass everybody else with it.
And you guys recorded this album down in L.A. with Tony Hoffer, who's a huge producer. How was it working with him?
Yeah, well, it was sort of two parts. So we recorded the first part in Los Angeles. We would have done it in Hamilton. We got a rehearsal space right downtown, but Tony is a producer we really want to work with, and he just had a baby. So he said, you got to come down to Los Angeles. And it was great. I mean, most people assume that when you make an album in L.A., it'll be like a Guns N' Roses music video, and you're on Sunset Strip, and you're like doing cocaine off strippers and stuff like that. It wasn't like that at all. Tony's actually like the nerdiest guy you've ever met, and every day we went in and just worked really hard. But the experience was amazing. And then we came home and we actually recorded 3 songs with Eric Ratz, who's worked on the Monster Truck record, Metric, Billy Talent. And he really was able to kind of get some raw rock and roll performances on 3 of the songs.
And what's the significance of the title High Noon for you guys? Where does that come from?
Well, it's a lyric in the first song on the album, Fake Money. But the idea of this sort of moment of confrontation, but then this clarity that comes after. There's a lot of these sorts of moments on the album where there's like in the song you just heard where like 2 friends make out and then like the next morning it's like kind of awkward. It's like everybody can kind of feel that moment where everything is kind of in the open, and so I think that theme sort of makes its way through the whole album.
Is there a specific lyric on this album that you guys found that kind of encapsulates everything that you guys were trying to accomplish on this record?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I mean, I think in the end it's an optimistic record. And there's one song called "Cynical Bastards," which was written sort of like after. I had a great summer in Hamilton. We were writing the record, and I went to Supercrawl and was just sort of taking it in as a fan. I was just so proud of everybody who's worked hard at making downtown Hamilton like a great place to be. And so it was an ode to them. And so the lyric in the chorus of "Cynical Bastards" is, "If you want me to boil it down, all you cynical bastards can get out of town." and so it's basically like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. You can leave. And to everybody who's contributing something positive, thank you. And we're in your debt.
And that's a good sentiment too, because rock and roll is meant to be positive. It's meant to make people feel good, and I think this record definitely will make people feel real good.
Oh, hopefully that's.
It makes me bounce in my seat every time "Come to Light" comes on. I'm like, oh man, I feel like dancing.
Good, yeah, we like that too.
So 3 years since the last record, Michigan Left. How does it work for you guys when you're coming off a record, when you're getting ready to make the next one? Do you guys take some time off, or is it just pretty much let's get back into it again?
We got right back into it, I think. I memean, we finished touring and then just bunkered in the jam space and worked away all last summer.
Yeah, it was a great. It was really fun though. We're lucky that we kind of can come off the road and start just thinking about band related things immediately. So yeah, we had all these ideas bubbling, and we had been listening to a lot of new music, and we were just really excited to kind of get back to work. And actually, right now we're already thinking about new songs. So now that we've got these out of the way, we can start thinking about the next batch.
Always thinking about the next thing.
Yeah,
that's good. Well, so you guys are going to be in Hamilton on Tuesday. The record comes out. You guys are going to do a special up close and personal session for some fans. What can people expect from the Arkells for this one?
We're gonna have to learn how to play these new songs, so they'll see us stumble through these new versions. It's funny, we've gotten really good at playing Jackson Square, and we're getting pretty good at playing Michigan Left. So now the next challenge is to play the High Noon stuff. But we wrote all the songs with a live setting in mind, and when we were writing the songs, like the rhythm had to feel good to move to. So knowing that's the foundation, it shouldn't be too tricky.
And you guys were playing with that the orchestra, the Boris Brott Orchestra, a couple weeks ago for the Supercrawl pop-up shows. How was that? Was that difficult to mesh with the orchestra?
It wasn't difficult. It was we the only difficult part is we're kind of a loud bunch of guys. Like if you've ever seen a show, it's sometimes the volume gets a little high. So playing with those guys, we all had to compromise a little bit to make it work. But in the end, it was a really special night. Nothing like the sound of playing with an orchestra. It's really hard to get without an actual orchestra there. So the real deal was cool.
Yeah, we grew up listening to the Beatles and Motown, and there's amazing orchestration in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the fact that we got to experience that for ourselves was pretty awesome.
Your own personal all you need is love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Talking to Anthony, Max, and Mike from the Arkells. You guys came into the studio and did a little acoustic song for us, so we'll get to that coming up in just a few minutes. And we want you guys to help us hook people up with passes to go to this exclusive show on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you guys can stick around. We'll continue the Arkells takeover after this. Supercrawl pop-up shows. How was that? Was that difficult to mesh with the orchestra?
It wasn't difficult. It was we the only difficult part is we're kind of a loud bunch of guys. Like if you've ever seen a show, it's sometimes the volume gets a little high. So playing with those guys, we all had to compromise a little bit to make it work. But in the end, it was a really special night. Nothing like the sound of playing with an orchestra. It's really hard to get without an actual orchestra there. So the real deal was cool.
Yeah, we grew up listening to the Beatles and Motown, and there's amazing orchestration in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the fact that we got to experience that for ourselves was pretty awesome.
Your own personal all you need is love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Talking to Anthony, Max, and Mike from the Arkells. You guys came into the studio and did a little acoustic song for us, so we'll get to that coming up in just a few minutes. And we want you guys to help us hook people up with passes to go to this exclusive show on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you guys can stick around. We'll continue the Arkells takeover after this. Y108 rocks, the Arkells, and 1111, brand new music from them. The new album High Noon comes out on Tuesday. It's Nick Chino with you. I'm joined in studio by Anthony, Max, and Mike from the Arkells. They're taking over.
We are taking over the airwaves.
And you guys are doing an exclusive up and close and personal show on Tuesday in Toronto. I don't want to reveal the venue, but we're going to open phones right now to everybody. 905-645-1079, 1-800-267-ROCK, because we want to hook some people up with tickets to this up close and exclusive.